What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back today breaking down and predicting November 11th HBO main events. Danny Jacobs taking on Luis Arias. Danny Jacobs 32-1 lost by knockout by Demetrius Pirog back in the day, and lost to Triple G last time out, which most people I thought he won. It was a close fight. Won't debate about it too much. With 29 knockouts. Luis Arias is 18-0 with 9 knockouts. And a little bit of backstory real quick. I might get to the Miller Walk. I will get to the Miller Walk, a prediction video later this week, probably Thursday. Also, I will not be doing the Arthur Beterbiev IBF championship fight. His opponent is just, not on his level. It's a waste of my time. He should win fairly easy. Shout out to Jose Ramirez and Mike Reed, out of DC, Maryland. Him and Jose Ramirez is going to be the co-feature. It's probably going to be the best fight on that night on ESPN. So you do have an HBO card and ESPN card this Saturday to let everybody know. We back, and I definitely dug to the bottom of the barrel, dug 12 feet under to get as much information, to do as much homework on Danny Jacobs and Luis Arias so I can give you a thorough breakdown as usual and a prediction. Most people know, let's start off with, Luis Arias. Most people know he was with TMT Mayweather Promotions. And I'm going to tell you why he left Mayweather Promotions if you don't know, or he got kicked off of the money team, which might be the best thing that happened to him for his career. But, he's, 18-0, 9 knockouts. And people say, well, he only got 9 knockouts. He ain't got enough power to touch Danny Jacobs or to hit Danny Jacobs. And if you haven't seen him fight, then, you wouldn't know the whole backstory. I seen him fight. You see him fight on the little undercards of the Mayweather Promotions, little fights and stuff like that. So I've been watching him for a while. And a lot of the guys that you see on Mayweather Promotions that started, when he first started Mayweather Promotions, when he was about to be with 50 Cent, the guys had great talented amateur backgrounds. Like Jalen Love was a great talented amateur, man, out of Inkster, Michigan, man. He's a very talented amateur. He just couldn't find a weight class he can compete at as a pro, so it didn't pan out. Just because you're a good, talented amateur doesn't mean you're always going to be a good pro. Luis Arias has a great amateur background with 170 amateur fights, and he's a very highly touted amateur, and that's how Floyd was finding these guys. He had the amateur plug, and, he met Floyd through the Rockmans, and the Senior Rockman Senior and the boys. So that's his crew, and most of you guys might know the story why he got kicked out of Mayweather Promotions. And apparently, I guess it was going downhill. Remember, a few of them got busted for weed. I think smoking weed, and they got suspended. So I think he was amongst the guys that was smoking weed, and Floyd suspended them or whatever happened. And I thought, that would teach him a lesson. But the breaking point, according to him, was he had just had his son still sleeping on the chest. He had just had him weeks ago, and he was working the Rockman corner, and we know the Rockman Jr. has sued Floyd Mayweather. They suing Floyd Mayweather. I don't know how it panned out, but Luis Arias begged Rockman, one of the Rockman sons, the younger ones, not to go in there and fight Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, in the doghouse, they got him beating on him, they're mad, and they hyping him up. And Luis Arias said, that's a grown man in there. Don't go in there and fight him. And Rockman's son went in there and fought him, and he was getting beat down, and Floyd wasn't taking no breaks. So they went about 3 rounds, he said, and he started taking off Rockman's gear, and Floyd said, no, don't take his gear off. He trying to teach him a lesson, you know what I'm saying? And Luis Arias said, he backed off, and then, I guess he was asked a part of the investigation what happened. And remember I told you the Rockmans brought him to, Mayweather Gym, and I guess they thought that was some backstabbing type of stuff. And they released him from the money team, Mayweather Promotions. Said he ran up on Floyd. And he said after he ran up on Floyd, he said he couldn't be a real man and go back and face Floyd and go back and run to Floyd. But that's the best thing that happened to his career. End up signing the Rock Nation. But, it's just a little backstory. But talking about the fight, Danny Jacobs is a good fighter. We all know that. He's been down a few times, been stretched by Sean Porter and amateurs. Been knocked out by Pirog, been knocked out by Sergio Mora, been knocked down by Triple G, which was a funny type of knockdown. And he fought a little passive versus Triple G. I like to see him be a little bit more aggressive, and maybe that was because of Triple G power. But, we know what he brings to the table with strength. He's an athlete. He's athletic, fast, powerful. I think his right hook is something to marvel at. It dropped Sergio Mora. It knocked out Peter Quillen, I believe. He got a good left hook, good jab. real well schooled kid, man. Andre Rozier done very well with him. But one thing about him is he powerful. He's a strong guy. But he always don't bring that persona in the ring. He's always not an aggressive fighter. If you can hit him and get his attention, he gets tentative, he gets nervous a little bit, and that's some of his weakness. I'm getting to it in a minute. Luis Arias, he's a well-schooled fighter, man. I turned on the tape, better than I thought I would see. He's a guy that only got 9 knockouts because he used to fight at 160. His first 15 fights as a professional fighter was at 168 pounds. So now to give you an idea of why he feels confident he can knock out Danny Jacobs, never been down as a pro, never been down as an amateur. So his chin is certified, to that level he's been fighting on. He moves his head, he can box forward, he can box backwards, he can box forward. He got a good jab, he got a good right hand, he got good body work, very aggressive, can move his head a little bit. He's one of the better opponents Danny Jacobs fought. Please believe me. I understand he fought Caleb Truess, Peter Quillen, Sergio Mora. I think he's a more school fighter than Peter Quillen. I'm going to put it to you that way, especially that inactive Peter Quillen that Danny Jacobs fought. And he can move his head. He can box. He can box on the back foot, side to side, decent speed, decent power, and he's coming down in weight now. So Danny Jacobs is going to probably be fighting a bigger fighter than when he fought with Triple G, because Triple G is not that big massively. He won't be as strong and powerful as Triple G, but he'll be fighting a bigger fighter that can match his size. But you're talking about the weakness of Danny Jacobs is obviously the chin. It's obviously when he get hit, he don't have a poker face. When you hurt Danny Jacobs, and in his body language when you hurt him, when he started boxing and moving on the back foot, and he started kind of moving around the ring, and he's not aggressive anymore. When he's aggressive, he knows you can't hurt him, and when he gets aggressive, he gets reckless sometimes, and you get an opportunity to put him down, and then that's when he goes back into boxing mode. And for Luis Arias, really the weakness for him is experience. Being experienced on the top level with guys. He does have the tendency to put those earmuffs on, but he does move his head. But he's a sucker for uppercut, I would guess. But he moves his head, so I haven't seen him get caught with a lot of uppercuts. But when you go to the elite level of fighting, then it's time to get amplified. So he does move his head a little bit. Comes forward. I mean, only really weakness I see in Luis Arias right now is competition level. And that can be the worst weakness level, because when you just go from a certain level and then jump to the top tier, a lot of those weaknesses that we don't see on tape, it get exposed. And that's one thing I'm worried about with him, and just the competition level. But seeing what Danny Jacobs needs to do. Danny Jacobs needs to box. Don't get reckless. Don't go for the kill too soon. This guy has a good chin. He's durable. In this box, see if he can cut the ring off on you. I haven't seen too many times that Luis Arias had to cut the ring off. We know John David Jackson is Luis Arias' trainer, and we've seen Kovalev didn't have any ability to cut the ring off, and maybe that's Kovalev. But hopefully Luis Arias is preparing to cut the ring off. If not, Danny Jacobs is going to box. Arias can box with Danny Jacobs, please believe me, but it's not going to be in his favor. His favor. It's not going to be in his favor. Danny Jacobs just used the jab. He likes to switch hit a little bit, and also as a weakness when Danny Jacobs squares up a lot. And Luis Arias has a wonderful straight right hand. It's pinpoint accurate. And I can see him putting down Danny Jacobs with that straight right hand once he squares up sometimes. A lot of times Danny Jacobs like to get out of position and go for the kill. And he squares up frequently, more than frequently than I like. But for Arias, but Jacobs just box. That's basically what it is. For Arias, I like to see him use his jab, cut the ring off, go to the body early, stick that jab in his face, and and when you go to the body with the right and left hooks, come, feint like you're going to go to the body, with the left hook, come straight down the pipe with the right hand, and you can put Jacobs down. I really want to pick Luis Arias in this fight, man. But I am going to pick Luis Arias. I'm going to pick Luis Arias by 9th round knockout. I'm not telling you guys to go out there. I just got a feeling on this. I got Luis Arias knocking out Danny Jacobs. I know a lot of people not going to go with me, and Luis Arias might get robbed being on HBO, but it's something about this kid. I just have a feeling. I'm 10th round knockout. I have a feeling. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying this is one of my greatest prediction videos of all time, but I'm going with the kid from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I have no ties to him, but I like what I've seen on tape, and I think he's here to upset the show and call me crazy, but I'm taking Luis Arias by 10th round knockout. We gone.